as mindfulness and concentration grow, as we become more adept at truly being here in the present moment, it becomes obvious that thoughts are thoughts. The past is thoughts in the present. The future is thoughts, perhaps reactions, emotions, in the present. What exists is now. And so we abide in now. In this breathing in now. In this breathing out now. Sometimes the mind may wander for quite a while. Actually, I suppose sometimes the mind wanders for weeks or months. We can have serious relapses into ignorance. But whether it's weeks, months, moments, or those times when mindfulness and concentration and the other enlightenment factors are so strong, the thought doesn't even fully form before it's noticed. It's always the same natural, ecological process of the factors of awakening blossom, and there's presence, there's knowing. There is that which knows. And let us now acknowledge the pole, the polarity where there is the experience of self, of I and me and mine. And perhaps call to mind sometime in your life where you really were in contact with love. Perhaps it was a moment of deep connection with your dog or cat, or maybe it was holding a baby or nursing a baby. Maybe it was standing in awe on top of a mountain or sitting by a stream. Maybe it was riding a bus and falling into love with some aged person or some parent being kind to their child. Maybe it was in your garden, observing the miracle of peonies open. Remember that experience, re-inhabit that experience. In so doing, we fire the same synapses as at that time, and we bring into being the wholesome state of really feeling loved and loving. And this is what we all hunger for. It's never really very far away beyond the barriers of thought and emotion, distraction. It's right here. And we might add that very personal mantra, I love you, with your name at the end. It's been quite a journey in this lifetime, from conception to birth. Imagine holding yourself as a baby. I love you. As a 1-year-old and 2-year-old walking and beginning to talk, cherish yourself. I love you. Oftentimes, our childhoods were lacking in some things. Some words that you longed to hear when you were small, that you may still really be longing to hear. Why not say them in your own heart-mind? I'm so glad you were born. I'm so glad you're who you are. I'll be here for you. And yourself at 5 and 10 and 15, 20. And all your different journeys through the world of relationships, career, marriage and divorce, and children or not children, your particular path. Bringing with you the great mantra, I love you. Many of us carry with us a sense of failure in some ways. I failed at this, I failed at that, I should have been different. I should have been more of this or less of that. I made this mistake, I made that mistake. Hold yourself with the heart of Kuan Yin or the Buddha or some other archetypal image. I love you. And perhaps these aren't the right words or images at all, in which case, let your auto-translator let them become exactly what you need. Perhaps this whole process right now seems silly and empty, and there's doubt. Doubt is part of our natural ecology of mind. Can you love that too? I love you. Opening fully into the life of your body. This body. Can you hold this body in gratitude and love? And then there's the personality with its quirks and limitations and strengths. Loving this costuming that you've had and have for this whole lifetime. I love you. And your emotions, the emotional body, the emotional notion of self. opening to loving of this being, passing through a lifetime as a human being. And let's now remember that we practice in community. And do what it takes to really ground in the body with the intention of being here in the body all day. And then bringing awareness to the eyes and the face. And we might imagine it as a breathing in of I love you. And on the out-breath, I love you going outwards. Or may I be happy, may you be happy. And then doing whatever is required in terms of intention and planning. And then operationalizing, letting the eyes open, pulling those eyelids open with the intention of meeting, of seeing others on this journey this morning. Knowing that they long to be loved just as much as you. Every single one of us has been through extraordinary difficulties in this lifetime. The older I get and the longer I practice, the more obvious it is how hard it is to be a human being. And how much love we can and compassion we develop if we open to ourselves and each other. I just had a funny, unexpected thought that went through, which was, I'm so glad COVID happened, because this whole meeting each other each morning happened now. Of course, the price has been and continues to be extraordinarily high. But there is some silver lining here. There is a way to make lemonade out of this one. I'm going off to screen number 2 here. Staying in that quality of intention. It's like, oh, I really want to see the beauty in these people. I want to see the heroism of having come through all the things that each person has. Well, I have just a couple of announcements. Tonight, Gregory Malouf will be teaching. If you've not experienced Gregory, I highly recommend it. I like to listen to Gregory's Dharma talks, and I really like to have a pad nearby because I always learn a bunch. Tomorrow night, Doug Pullen teaches. Doug went to India with my first wife and I back in 1978. It was madness. A 28-year-old fellow and a 29-year-old woman who hardly knew each other got married and took 25 students to India for 5 months. It was crazy. The first fight happened in the bathroom of the first, or I was in the bathroom and she was in the main room, wondering, what in God's name have we done? Well, we were together 17 years, so we worked out a lot of stuff. But anyway, Doug's been with me ever since then. Friday morning, Doyle Banks teaches. Doyle has a long history of spiritual practice, and he was a Eastern Orthodox priest, I forget, but he knows how to be in spirit. And Friday night, Kate Staples is on. And Monday, our very one-of-a-kind Jim Dalton, who's here somewhere. There he is. There's Jim. Jim does his Rumi's guest house. And then Tuesday's Gary. And Sunday nights, twice a month, is Candle Summers. So it's quite a cast. And I encourage you to stretch out and try another one of these gatherings. And on December 5th and 6th, I will be teaching a weekend retreat, inviting you to put aside everything, to turn off your phone and get your food ready in advance, and to join me for a weekend of practice. And you can find that at hollyhock.ca. And lastly, I guess, the reminder that, first the celebration. Yeah. At the board meeting yesterday, we found out, I'm going to forget the numbers. Maybe you'll remember, Jim. I think that in our push to increase our number of monthly donors, I think we added 40 or 45. And also 15 or 17 people who are already monthly donors increased their contributions, such that in total over the next year, I think it will make a difference of something like $22,000. Now that's pretty amazing for an organization the size of PIMC. So I honor that amazing generosity, and it means that we're floating in a time when lots of, quote, businesses are disappearing. PIMC is not doing that, and that's because of your generosity. So if you'd like to join that happy throng, you can go to the website and do a monthly contribution or a one-time contribution. But as Marshall Rosenberg put it in summary, please fulfill my request only if you can do it with the joy of a small child feeding a hungry duck. Never out of guilt or shame or I should, but, I can do this. So, how about you? What's happening for you? Have you something to share, a question you'd like to ask? If you have such a thing, unmute yourself and wave. That'll help too. I'll try to find you. Are you waving, Kat, for that purpose? Unmute yourself. Or you're just waving. Oh, you are unmuted. Hang on. How come I don't hear it? So try again. There we are. I can hear you now.
I love that. Yes. Okay, hi everybody. I did want to share. Hi. Oh no, I'm gonna put myself in gallery view. I did want to share kind of a miracle that happened yesterday, very much thanks to this practice, which is during practice I had a panic attack, which I have not had a panic attack in sobriety yet, and so that makes panic attacks a lot more complicated because I don't get to. It's much harder for me to take the medication I used to take for panic attacks, and thankfully, yeah. It used to be I have a panic attack, I take a pill and go to sleep for 4 hours, and I don't have a panic attack anymore.
Yeah.
And I don't get to do that anymore. And thankfully, my partner, who's also a member of this Sangha, though she must be sleeping in today, was here, and she forced mindfulness on me like someone with a baseball bat, really, 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 really angry. Like, she wasn't angry, but like someone with a baseball bat, like whacking me with mindfulness of like, you are going to sit up, you are going to look out the window, you are going to breathe, you are going to get control of your breath, you are going to observe the things out the window. And I've had panic attacks for 20 years, and my response has always been crawl into bed and be in a ball for 3 days. And it freaking worked. Getting control of my own breath worked. Observing the things out the window. And anytime I would go back into thought of observing, of like trying to be like, well, that person looks, she's like, no, you are telling me exactly what you're seeing. And it was unbelievable. It felt unbelievably harsh. And it worked in 20 minutes. And normally a panic attack is something that takes me out for days. And I was able to go to class an hour. I'm getting very tearful talking about it. I was able to go to class an hour later. And it just means a lot to me, this practice. Like, I had sort of had the hope that once I started meditating, I wouldn't have panic attacks anymore. Like, that would be magically gone. But the fact that I do keep coming here and was able to actually hear her and get control of my breath and keep getting out of thought and had the language of getting out of thought was really huge. And it really saved me from really big suffering. So I'm grateful for all of you, because truly, if it wasn't for all of you, I wouldn't show up every day. So thank you.
Thank you, Kat. What a wonderful discovery, huh? Hooray, Mish! Anybody else? What's your discovery? Turn up my heater again. I was attacked by a broom and a picture.
Hi, Robert. It's Meg.
Hello, Meg.
Hi. I just wanted to express gratitude to you and the Sangha, just as you were reminding us to, or prompting us to think about a moment of love. I thought about a retreat that we were able to go on together, and I thought about just the love of even this virtual Sangha, and I felt so calm. And I've been very anxious. I have a big decision to make about my career in the next 24 hours, and I have just been swirling and swirling and swirling. And gosh, just the reminder of love. It's amazing how quickly this stuff flits in and out. And so I just am feeling very grateful. I'm always a little nervous to share, but I was feeling so moved. So thank you all for the warm smiles.
Thank you.
The anxiety's still there, but I will persist through.
May the decision become really clear for you.
Thank you.
You know, I had a memory as you were talking, something that I had the great good fortune in my early 20s to do 150 miles of the John Muir Trail in the Sierra Nevada. I went in with a friend of mine. We were really very strong. We had 100-pound packs, and we carried everything we needed for the month. And it was absurd, really, but we were proving something. Anyway, have you been in the Sierras? Well, you know what? Oh, that's nice. You know what it's like when you look at one of those passes. It's like there's no way to get up that pass. It is impossible. And then you go and the trail winds its way, and then it does the switchback and the switchback. And then when you get to the top, you look back and say, well, it was obvious. Right. Of course that's where the path went. And that's the way my life looks in retrospect. There's all these decisions, and what if I do this, and what if I do that? And then you get a little ways on, you look back, and, well, it was no wonder it was confusing. But, of course it looks like that when you're looking into the future. So may the path clarify itself for you, and no doubt you'll land right where you are. Yeah. So good luck. Nah, you don't need good luck. Just be here.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I came across my slides of my trip in the Sierras a couple of weeks ago. It was equally reminded me the incredible beauty there. Those little meadows. There's this rock basin, and there's been dirt filled in, and there's a little tiny lake, and there's a little campsite. It's just too cool. Anybody else have anything you would like to share?
Good morning, all. It's Francine.
Hello, Francine.
Good morning. Good morning. I've been pretty routine since March about attending to the business of being present. It's gotten so steadfast for me that I had a bit of a small miracle myself last week. I took a very, very, very hard fall, and all is well. But in the nanosecond between tripping and hitting the ground, I had almost like perfect composure. I knew exactly what was happening. I reviewed the whole process of falling, did kind of a body check, and ended up in the best plank of my life. Now, I did end up with really pretty massive bruises on my palms of my hands, but as I laid there on the sidewalk, doing a whole scan and reviewing that, my mind was so crystal clear. I knew exactly what to do to to take care. And I attribute that to paying attention. I didn't see the branch that was laying across the sidewalk, unfortunately. And I stayed there a long time, making sure all was safe. And I was, well, besides the bruises on the palms of my hands, I quietly, very slowly walked home and was just grateful for awareness. Thank you all.
Thanks, Francine.
Hello, Robert.
Hello, Patrick.
It's Patrick. Hello. I'll share about a time when I felt deeply loved. So wow. Okay. So a couple of years ago, I was on a trip with a very good friend in Central Oregon, and we were in a motor vehicle accident, and he was very badly hurt. I was not hurt, but sort of culminated in me just like holding him in the middle of a highway while he suffered a terrific brain hemorrhage. And I didn't know it. I thought he was going to die, but like light and all that. And then night sleeping on the couch at the hospital down there in St. Joseph. But the collection of people that gathered in this crisis moment was just beautiful. It was something I didn't expect. Some of my friends, my family, and many of his friends showed up and met in those little waiting rooms, to discuss what's going to happen and how it's going to go. And I know you're familiar with that. But I was the center because I was there. So I told the story again and again, and I felt heard and listened to and accepted and deeply loved in that moment. And that moment lasted for a couple of days. And that's what came to mind when you were talking. But it's bittersweet. He did not die. He's still alive today, but he's a different person. And, but like all of those people that gathered, that moment then passed. They all went back to their lives, and I'm not in communication with many of them anymore. But it was really great while it lasted. Thanks.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Hello, Brian.
Good morning. I just wanted to share a couple of experiences that I had. So I really appreciated the self meta practice there this morning. That can be a very challenging thing for me at times, and I think that became sort of the memory became obvious as we first started to practice that. And what I was thinking about, you hit on later on in the meditation that, those of us that have had sort of dysfunctional pasts and dysfunctional sort of tougher upbringings, like we all have to some degree. I guess it can be really, really tough to begin to love ourselves. And this morning I was able to get to that spot a bit, and I really appreciated it. And then as you later on, you had mentioned that sharing a moment of gratitude for COVID, which I had yesterday as well. So we, as our little household here, it's my partner and 4-year-old daughter, live in our little bungalow here, and we got to have our first COVID test yesterday as a group, and I think we're fine. No one's all that ill, but it's warranted a test at least. And as I came back, I actually had a moment of being grateful that as a father, I actually got to spend like the last 8 months of these very formative years, like being much more in contact and actually much more present. And it's really, in a lot of ways, helped my practice of being a parent. That my busy life running around in every direction just I wasn't able to do, and kind of kept the whole thing in perspective. So I don't know, the whole thing. I guess even in saying that, I would like to say I certainly recognize, not only my privilege, but the real fortune that we have as a household. That I'm able to work is from home is huge, and that we have a household where we can be together, in harmony and basically, and love each other, right? And that is not the case for a great many homes.
Yeah.
So I just feel a lot of gratitude towards that, and to the group to have this space here this morning that you share with me. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, Brian. How beautiful.
Robert, this is Had.
Hello, Had.
I just want to speak and declare. So I just want to speak my observation from our sharing. Each of us and our not sharing. Each of us is such a different person with a mind that goes in 1,000 million different directions. But I want to declare and speak to this golden thread that mindfulness practice really gives us that perspective and knowing of a domain of being that we live in that goes through all that chaos and amalgam of our thoughts and what we think will be and what we think is wrong and what we think is right, and it gives us a continuity. And I want to acknowledge you for being a teacher who's giving us a way to clear off a path so we can know that golden thread in our lives that is there amidst COVID, amidst chaos, amidst impermanence.
Thanks,
So
Had.
thank you for mindfulness teaching that you have dedicated your life to.
Back to the Buddha. Thanks, Had.
Thank you, Buddha.
Well, Well, it's getting to be 8:15. Anybody else have something you'd like to share? Well, we have another day to practice. There's an apocryphal saying I heard decades ago, I think, that in the time of the Buddha, 2 women were on the way to the well in the morning, just after dawn. And one of them turned to the other and said, "And which of the 4 foundations of mindfulness are you practicing today?" So is our intention going to be mindfulness of the body? Shall I today notice my postures and movements? Or perhaps today the focus might be on liking and disliking, on the second foundation of mindfulness, on the push-pull of pleasure and displeasure. Or maybe I feel a little crazy today, and maybe the news got me, and maybe I'm worrying, and maybe it will be observing mind. This is a worried mind, or a calm mind, or a contracted mind, or a spacious mind, or a mind full of love, or a mind full of self-hatred, or whatever it is. Or third foundation of mindfulness. Or shall I, maybe today I'll really get into the practice of seeing and knowing that I'm seeing. Or maybe it'll be taste. Or maybe I'll really focus in on the 5 hindrances today. Or more fun, I think. I think today I'll really notice the 7 enlightenment factors when they come into being. So we can be so busy. And obviously we can't do it all. But which one's the most relevant? As we abide in what the Buddha called the pastures of abiding, the elements of being a human being that we can actually observe. So with that, I hope you have a really beautiful, loving day. And I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow. May that come to pass. So please join me in unmuting yourself, and let's go out on our funny little cacophonous blessing song. May all beings be happy. May all beings be happy. May all beings be happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Goodbye, friends. Thanks for getting up and coming to practice.
Thank you, Robert.
See you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, community. Thank you, Sangha.
Thank you.
Good day, everyone. Be well, be well, be well.
Hmm. It's remarkable watching people disappear, isn't it? Poof! Poof, they're gone. Poof! And poof, we're here. Goodbye, dear ones. Thanks for being here today, Jimbo. I'm remembering to turn off the feed to YouTube and Facebook. That's good.